Hello and welcome to the world's first Paul Weller fan podcast. I'm Dan Jennings. This is the story of 66, a celebration of the brand new album from the legend that is singer, songwriter and musician Paul Weller. This new series features podcast conversations with many of the huge talents that have been involved in the creation of Paul's 17th solo studio album. What I hope is that these podcasts give you a deeper insight into the creation of the new LP and that sheer joy of the creative process. And ultimately, it all comes back to the songs. What you'll hear about this LP, probably more than any other, is an album packed full of collaboration. Welcome to the story of 66. On this episode of the podcast, delighted to be joined by Tom Van Heel, singer, songwriter, musician, and of course, keys player in the Paul Weller Band. Now, Tom was on series 1 of the podcast, so I encourage you to dig into episode 87 to hear his full story. This time around, we're catching up on 66. We're going to chat to Tom about playing on Jumble Queen, electric guitar and backing vocals. He's on the song Nothing, playing acoustic guitar, backing vocals on Sleepy Hollow, and even Hammond organ on the album closer Burnout. Let's get into it. Tom Van Heel, thanks for joining me.
Pleasure. How are you, Dan?
I'm very well. How lovely to see you.
It's good to be here. It's nice to see you too.
And now look, I feel like I've spent time in your company this morning already because there you are on my Instagram doing a little version of Soul Wandering on your acoustic guitar in your kitchen. That was lovely to watch.
Yeah, well, yeah, thank you. Yeah, why not? You know, I was just sitting around. I wasn't doing anything. Kids had gone to bed. Yeah, I thought I'd just have a little play and get the brain going again for when we go out on the road, you know.
Because obviously he hasn't done that song yet. This is the first, I don't know if are we calling it a single? I don't think we are. It's an impact track or an instant grass or something, isn't it?
Is that what they call it? I have no idea. I don't know. I've not heard either of those terms, but I don't know what any of it is anymore, really. Tracks just don't come out, don't they? Whether they're singles or not, you know. It's
a lovely song, and obviously it's a big kind of full band. We got the backing singers. So to hear it kind of done acoustically, I was like, oh, that really works.
Yeah, I think a lot of Paul's songs work acoustically just because I think if it's a good song, it'll work acoustically. Do you know what I mean? It hasn't got to have, you know, everything surrounding it. It's just the sign of a good song, isn't it? If you can sit down and play it on a guitar and it sounds all right.
And sometimes it gives you a bit of an insight. Maybe that's how the song, I mean, I know he didn't write the lyrics and Bobby Gillespie wrote the lyrics on that, but maybe that's like the first version of that song is just Paul strumming away on a guitar with the tune.
Yeah.
And, you know, so it was a lovely thing, man. And I'll share that in the show notes for this. All right. People should see that. Now, very recently, I mean, you're just talking of music and live music. We're just back from down under. We're just back from Japan and that huge big tour, right?
Yeah, it was great. I love going to Japan and I love going to Australia. Getting to go and play in those places is incredible. And to think that we've done the Opera House like 6 times now is pretty mad. You know, never thought I'd even go there, let alone play it. And Japan, you know, it's just such a lovely place to go. People are amazing, special and lovely. The gigs are incredible. Had loads of snow though this time, which was a bit odd.
Oh,
we were like snowed in for half the tour. It felt like.
Have you planned for that in your clothing choices?
No, but it was good. It was a good excuse to go clothes shopping. Actually, get the coats and stuff. It was nice.
And it had been the first time that you'd all been there as a band since the COVID period.
Yeah.
And since those lockdowns, right? So quite a while. What were we talking, like 6-7 years since you'd been there, I think?
Yeah, I think, it would be, yeah, because it was the first year that I joined Paul's band, which was, 6 or 7 years ago. And it was that Kind Revolution tour. That was the last time we went. Yeah, and it was nice because you kind of see familiar faces, you know, even though it was that long ago. I just find it it's a really memorable experience. And like, you know, you just end up doing just really different, interesting things. You know, you're going to eat like very different food, for instance, on a day off, or you know, it just breaks it up. It makes it exciting. And I love going there. It's great.
You got some break time. So it wasn't just back-to-back gig. So where did you go on your days off?
I'm trying to think now. I spent a lot of time in bed, I remember, actually.
Oh, Tom.
I know. I made the most of it because...
Well, you've got young kids, right?
That's what I mean. So I go to work to have a lie-in, you know, and I won't be the only one to say that. But no, you know, we just mooch about and, you know, go for a drink or go to the arcade things. I don't know, we just get lost, really. It's normally me and Ben will just walk about, or we're just like getting lost in Japan. It's cool. Karaoke.
Oh, did you? All of you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. All over it.
Did Paul go karaoke with you? That would be amazing.
He did, actually. He did go, but I don't remember him singing anything. So I've got no anecdotes on that one.
Okay.
But yeah.
I'm talking to Jacko later, and what I'm really interested in finding out is just the difference between you lot on tour now versus what it was back in the early 90s, because it feels like you're sleeping all day on your days. So that wasn't the way back in the day, right?
Well, I don't know. There might have been a bit of sleeping in the day, I'd quite imagine. But no, I would have thought it would have been a little bit more of a party. So we're quite sensible now. Yeah, little lie-ins and breakfast in bed. Things like that.
Oh, look at you.
Take it easy.
We're around the corner from the time of recording. We've got the UK tour coming up and then the US this year.
Yeah. Cannot wait to go back. That's been a long time coming as well, because that was on that same tour when I first joined, like 6 or 7 years ago that we last went. And it was the first time I'd ever been to America. Yeah, it's going to be really nice to go back and sort of maybe take it in a bit more this time, because I was just like a kid in a sweet shop, and I was just like amazed by everything last time. And the gigs out there are great, and so many people come over to see those gigs as well, which is really impressive. And they do like the whole tour. Yeah, it's going to be great.
Yeah, I mentioned that to Bill Wheeler of whether that, come on now, can I not? I could come along the whole 3 weeks.
Yeah, do it.
I need to get that signed off by the missus. She's surprisingly not up for it at the minute, but we'll see.
No, you can up it.
I don't know why, but
you could document the whole thing.
Exactly. That was what was in my head. Technically, it's work, right?
Was Bill up for it?
Bill was up for it, I think, because he thought I might be able to help out and lug some boxes or do some things, some project management or something. I don't know. Yeah,
right.
Let's talk music and recording, because this album 66, I mean, it's still smashing it out of the park, right? I mean, when is it ever not? But this is great.
It's just another great album, isn't it? It's quite annoying, really. Now it's getting on my nerves. So every album, it's just like, oh, for fuck's sake! It's really inspiring to see the amount of work and the amount of quality that comes from Paul. There's no half-arsedness, doesn't follow any trend. He just does what he wants to do. And I think he proves it in every album that how good his songwriting is. They're just great. They're all great songs, I think.
And that bar is, I mean, it's set very high, obviously, right from the beginning of the career, but also that kind of that work ethic hasn't gone away. And actually, you can talk about live music as well. Like, you lot still do the rehearsals, you still do the production rehearsals, and those are almost like full gigs at Black Barn that you're doing for the show, right?
Yeah. We are really lucky that Paul has that space, because it's like a home from home now. And then when it's rehearsals, there's just a few more things in the room. There's just a bit more gear, a bit more equipment. But it feels like we're just, it's like when we're doing the album, it's the same vibe. We just go in, we hang out, we do a little bit, have a cup of tea, do a little bit more for a week or two until we feel ready. And then production, which is like in a massive hangar, and we do the full thing with the lights and the full rig and that. So by the time we're out on the road, we're really cooking, we're ready,
But it's almost that thing of like, this is a serious thing, right? You're having fun together, but you treat all of you treat the kind of gig and the recording and that is you're working hard, and you can hear that in the output of the records and the live shows.
Definitely. There's a time for fun, and then we just know when to turn it on and turn it off, I think. And that's important, because it feels like a band. Obviously, we play for Paul, and I think he would probably want it to feel like that as well. It feels like a group of people that really get on, and they know when not to kind of be there, like, when not to be having a laugh and when to be serious, because we do all take it really seriously, and we want it to be great,
As a fan, it's wonderful seeing, and that Paul's always working on the next thing. So when you see like a little image on social media of you in the recording studio together, or as we did on this one with you all on the steps of Abbey Road, you kind of, as a fan, I'm not getting into this info. You go, oh, they've been Abbey Road. What's going on? So let's kick off there, because that was like, I mean, it seemed like that was just like a Jolly Boys outing, really, for all of you, right? More than anything else, because there was about 20 of you there.
Yeah, it was a little bit. Yeah. Well, Paul he was doing the strings down there, so it was, it was a full orchestra. And he just said, if anyone wants to come down and hang out, you're more than welcome. And all of us obviously said yes. So yeah, we were just hanging out. It was great. Max Beasley popped down. It's nice to finally meet him properly. Staring down from the control room of Studio 2, looking at an orchestra playing on songs that, you've had a small part in, is pretty incredible.
So how much creative input did you have on that day, Tom, versus actually it was just to soak up the atmosphere and enjoy
Zero. Absolutely zero. I discovered that they sell Guinness in the bar. That was kind of my creative input, really. No, I kept my mouth shut that day, and I just watched. No, I'm quite happy just to be there and take it all in. And it's just, I'm never going to forget experiences like that. Never in a million years did I think I'd get to kind of go to Abbey Road. And I've been there a few times. So just sort of constantly pinching myself and feeling very lucky.
So that was one kind of glimpse into what was happening. The other is actually when we got to see Paul. So I would have been European tour last year. I was in Amsterdam.
Yeah, I saw you.
Okay. Yeah. What was I hanging around outside? Wasn't I probably?
Yeah, it was a little red light. I was like, what are we doing down there? No, I saw you on the bridge and I come and say hello. I don't know if you remember, but yeah.
It was lovely, wasn't it? A beautiful spring day. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
I got burnt face that day wandering around.
Did you?
Yeah. The ginger complexion. That's what it is.
Yeah, no, it's what I love going to Amsterdam. It's wicked because I don't think I've done any other gigs apart from Paradiso, but the backstage bit kind of goes onto the river. So we all kind of just hang out at the back and it's always a nice vibe, yeah. Yeah,
amazing. And a great venue. That was brilliant. But one thing we did get, again, this kind of glimpse into what was coming was this song that at the time was called Take.
Yeah.
And there's actually, before that it was called Jumble Queen. And then after it's now called Jumble Queen, right? And actually on record, you play electric guitar and your beautiful backing vocals are on there as well, Sam.
Thank you very much. Yes, that was a buzz doing that song. I remember, I think the day that I went down, it was just Ben, Paul and Charles. And I just had this little idea of a kind of, like a sort of a T-Rexy kind of thing, bit of a crunchy guitar in the back. And, it was the same, we'll go and try it then. And luckily it worked and it sort of made the cut. So bit of BVs. Yeah, it was a good day, that. And I love that. I love that tune. I love playing that live. I think Noel Gallagher wrote the lyrics for that. So that's interesting, getting to read through his lyrics and play on a song with him as well. Not that he was there. I don't think he played on it, connected in some ways. Pretty cool.
And was that before you'd taken the song out live, the recording in the studio? Or was it after? Do you remember?
I think it was before. I think we did that before, actually, yeah.
Because sometimes your kind of song takes on, it develops on the road, doesn't it? And then you put it down to record and that.
I think we recorded it. Yeah, that was right. We recorded it and then we went out and played it live. And then I think Paul might have tweaked it again after we played it live for a bit and beefed it up because it was kind of, my guitar was quite a small sounding. I think it might have been beefed up a little bit, I think.
Well, it's great because we get the backing singers as well, Simadou and Louise Marshall. We get the Stone Foundation on that with Jack O'Peak as well. So the Stone Foundation horns on there as well and Ben on drums. It's a terrific song.
I love the brass line on that. It's wicked.
Let's talk about Nothing next, which is another song that's a really special one on the album for me. I mean, Paul plays pretty much every instrument under the sun. So often I'm kind of wondering, what's he getting you lot into do? Because on this one, he's doing like electric guitars, acoustic guitar, bass guitar, which is always a joy to see Paul on that. He's playing piano. We've got the Mellotron, but you're there, acoustic guitar, and again, backing vocals with Ben on drums. But this is a really lovely, lovely song. And we did see this again, if you talk about that glimpse into it, we did see this at the acoustic gig in Liverpool just before Christmas. It's a beautiful song, that.
Yeah, it's lovely. Yeah, we played it live as well on this last tour, and it works really well, goes down really well. Yeah, just the acoustic idea. I think I was just playing off of what the drums were doing, just more of a, bounced it along a little bit. Yeah, tried it and it worked again. So thank God.
You and Ben seem to have this wonderful dynamic between the two of you. And I know you're like really, really like besties, right? And he's a lovely fella as well. But you seem to have that real connection, the two of you, when you're making music to me.
Yeah, you think? I mean, well, we've played with each other for years now. We just get, I don't know what it is really. We just get each other. And I've done other things with Ben, but outside of Paul. And it's kind of an unspoken thing really. I know everybody kind of says it, but about if you've been playing with someone for so many years, you just know what they're going to do or you have a good idea. And there's lots of things live where I can play bits off of kind of what he's doing. There's like a breakdown we do in Into Tomorrow. And I've started to do this kind of this clav part, which kind of bounces off what Ben's doing and what Pilgrim are doing. But I think we all kind of get each other like that now in the bands. We can all read each other quite well.
It's that trust element as well, which I love. I love watching it live because you can kind of see that somebody will start taking off in a different direction, whether it's Paul or Craddock or whoever. And it's like a sixth sense. It's really magical to watch.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I think, it is I guess it's a trust thing. It's nice to know that everyone is kind of happy to go with whatever idea comes up. Like, so if I end up taking the kind of a rhythmy sort of part, then everyone will kind of fall in, or the drums will do it or Paul will do it. There's no kind of ego there of like, oh, well, I wanted to go in this direction or whatever. Everyone just, some nights Paul will do it, some nights Ben will take it, or, we never really know what's going to happen. But as soon as it happens, we all know what we're doing.
In the live band, obviously, we know you as the man with the keys.
Yeah.
But actually on Paul's records, we don't often have you on the keys.
Yeah. Well, it's normally because he's probably done them. He's probably done most of them. But yeah, I'm lucky enough that I can play a few different things. So I can kind of get different ideas in there, you know, whether it be a BV thing or a guitar thing, prayer bowl, you know.
I remember the prayer bowl. Yeah.
So yeah, it can kind of suggest different things really, which is nice because, I mean, I never really was a keys player. I feel like one now, but I know, you know, when I joined Paul's band, I definitely don't think I was a keys player. I kind of had to learn quick and become one. But, you know, I was probably more of a drummer or a guitarist at the time. And now I definitely play more keys. But it's nice to be able to still have a little bit of a hand in those things, you know, whether I, you know, play a bit of drums here and there or a bit of guitar. I'm not solely playing the keys, which is really nice. It keeps it fresh.
And on with this album, was it come down because we want to work with you on the album, or was it just come down, be nice to see you, and then you happen to be playing on stuff? Because that's how it, when we talked before, that was kind of how it started, kind of getting into albums, was like you were there making the tea initially, wasn't it?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I used to make the tea and just hang around, and then I'd, you know, end up playing on things, right place, right time, a lot of it. And then that carried on into, I would say probably this album was maybe the first time I'd kind of been asked down more instead of just being there, you know. There'd be specific tracks that Paul might be like, oh, you know, I need a bit of keys on this one, or try a bit of Moog on that one, or a bit of guitar maybe on this. Because, normally it's just, I'm just hanging around really. Because I used to live really local, so I would just always pop in. And now I've moved a bit further away. So maybe that was it. Maybe that was something to do with it, just to kind of, to get me down. But that was nice though, because I kind of felt like I had a bit more of a job, you know, instead of just sort of sitting in the corner, putting my hand up every so often.
Yeah.
So it's quite nice, yeah.
There's a track called In Full Flight on the album.
Yeah.
Which created by Tom Doyle with Paul and Ants Brown, the White Label guys. And it's, again, a terrific song. But we get you on this one. So we get you on Wurlitzer and what's called a Korg MS-20, which, funny enough, I was down at the barn the other day and I actually saw this there. And I was like, oh, that's what that is. Because I knew I was I was like, oh, okay. But for those of us that really don't know what this thing does, what is it, like a sampling thing or what?
I mean, I don't really know what it does, to be quite honest with you. This is what I'm saying. I'm not really, I'm just blagging it, Dan. No, it's a little kind of Moogie thing. It's just a cool little. It's a bit of a synthy Moog.
It's quite little, isn't it? Like a little keyboardy box, right?
Yeah, I take it out on the road now. And I use that instead of the bigger Moog because it's just easier to handle it, really. There's not as many knobs and lights and things that can go wrong with this one. No, it's just a cool little thing, and it was just sitting there, and I just wanted to try that line. But that's it, really. That's all I can kind of say on the MS. What is it called? The MS Korg 20.
MS-20 Korg. Well, yes. Well, none of us are much the wiser. But the lovely thing about Black Barn is all these amazing old instruments that people have talked about this on the podcast, but now seeing them in the flesh myself, they're all everywhere. There's all these keys, and obviously there was all the guitars in the racks and whatever. But the Wurlitzer that you get to play on that one as well.
Yeah. It's just another one of the things where I just had an idea. It's kind of what anyone probably would have played. You know what I mean? It's the obvious thing to play. It's what it needed, I think. Yeah, it's nice. It's just a dreamy kind of pretty little tune, isn't it? And just puts a nice little thing on the top. The
wonderful thing is as well, I guess for you, is so you're popping in that day and you're playing on stuff, but over time these songs are building, and what we then get is on that one, Say She with the backing vocals. But that wasn't the same day, presumably. Were you there for that?
No, I wasn't there for that. No, that would have been a different day.
But at some point, you're then getting to hear the full thing with everything kind of pulled together, and you're on it, and all these other elements, whether it's the backing singers or whatever, amazing.
Yeah, it's great. And every time you come down, it's evolved into, whether it be, the album that you're working on, or it'll be a new song that you've never heard before. And there's always something new down there. It's never like, oh God, they're still working on that same song from like 2 years ago. It's really fast paced. If you don't really get it in a couple of takes, then you just move on. And it's not like oh shit, I didn't get it. It might not have been right for it or whatever. Because I think the best things are the most natural things that come fastest. If you have to work on something for ages, then normally there's a reason why you're working on it for too long, because it's probably not right. Yeah, so it's always nice to come down and hear like maybe something I've done has been changed or like moved to a different place sometimes in the song. Yeah, it's always nice to go down and hear how it's all developing.
Sleepy Hollow is another highlight on an album that's just packed full of highlights. And you mentioned Max Beasley earlier on, so Max is on vibes on this one.
So good.
He's such a talent, isn't he?
Fucking incredible. Yeah, the first time I heard that was like, wow, who is playing that? I didn't realise he was so good. on the vibes. You know, I knew he was a great drummer and other things, but hearing him play the vibes was like, wow. And it really fits the song, and it's really tasteful what he's playing because he's playing a lot, but it's not that overplayed sort of vibe. You know, it fits just perfectly in the track.
And Jacko, we should mention Jacko. So back in the band now as well, which is lovely to see. You know, just from a live performance with him. What was the video I saw down under? Was it Shouts to the Top? I think maybe. And I was just like, wow, it was so good.
For a start, he's such a dude, man. I love Jacko. He's wicked, and we have a laugh when we go on tour. Yeah, he's so funny and so fun to be around. And he just plays playing. It's always the right thing. You know, he's really tasteful. You know, he's old school, and he's been doing it for a long time. He knows what to do. He just takes it to another level, especially Shout to the Top. I mean, it's pretty funny when we watch him do is it Into Tomorrow? Yeah, at the end of the Into Tomorrow kind of breakdown thing, and he's hitting this high note. You know, there's evenings where I think that he's going to fucking explode, you know. So that kind of became a little bit of a running joke. I'm sort of looking at Pilgrim going, you've got to end this in a minute, mate, because he's going to fucking die. But yeah, it's good fun.
And also Jacko is directly in front of you on the stage, him and Craddock, right?
Yeah, him and Craddock, yeah. So I can see these veins, you know, on his neck. But I'm thinking he's going to go, man. Yeah, so it's great to see. I get to see like Craddock's pedal work, you know, from like a bird's eye view, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah, I bet. And actually, Craddock's on that song as well. So CP Hollow has Steve Craddock on electric guitars, Max on vibes, like I mentioned, Jack on flute as well as a couple of saxes. And then we've got these beautiful backing vocals, because the thing with you, with Pilgrim and with Jake Fletcher, who's now in the band as well, is not just the playing of the instruments, but like the voices. So when the three of you coming together on backing vocals on that as well. Ben's told me that he's terrible at singing, so he's never doing that, right? But three of you, when you come together, it's a beautiful sound as well. Yeah. So wonderful.
But Ben is a great violin player. If you ever get a chance to ask him about that, he's a really good violin player. But he never really keeps it quiet. I don't know why, but he's really good. But the BUVs, I think on that one, we just did it round one mic. We were just listening to the track, and I think we kind of came up with it as we were doing it. I can't really remember, but I'm pretty sure we might have just kind of tried things out until they worked, you know. We get a really nice blend, I think, between our three voices. No one's really louder than the other. It's kind of a nice blanket of harmony, I think.
Yeah, and you all have different levels. I mean, Jake's voice is quite high.
Yeah,
I think that's an age thing, maybe, because he's like 13 or something still, isn't he?
Well, he's old, you'd be surprised. He's older than me.
No way.
Yeah, he is, man. He's like 6 months older than I am. Fuck, I don't know what he's doing, but good on him.
Yeah, he's doing it well, whatever it is. I always like those bits. You don't do them so much now, but those little acoustic bits where you kind of all break out and do stuff separately. You remember when you first all came back after lockdown, they were like gigs in Oxford, I think, and it became this big 3-hour set list. There was these kind of acoustic moments that you'd break for like half an hour and do something different. But the voices of all of you together with Paul and Steve, and it was really nice that.
Yeah, it was nice doing that. But I think sometimes it can kind of, I don't know. It doesn't kind of work every gig. Well, this is what I kind of thought anyway. Sometimes it'd be really nice and everyone would listen, and because it's quite not self-indulgent isn't the right word, but you kind of you want people just to kind of shut up and listen for those bits. And when you're in like the Barrowlands, it just doesn't happen. Right. And you're playing Gravity or Aspect or something like that. It kind of suits it more just to kind of plow through and play more, just full band tunes. But I love doing that stuff, though. It's wicked. Like I said earlier, it really shows off the songwriting, because there's not a lot really going on around the song. It's just, we're just playing the song, so to speak, but without all the kind of, pops and bangs and loud drums. And it's just mainly centered around either Paul's guitar and vocal or his piano playing. And we just support that, really.
Yeah.
That's kind of all we do.
As you say, though, it makes you think about those live gigs. So we talk about, Australia's not somewhere he goes very often. So when you then come up with a set list for that, you're kind of having to cram in like everything that he's done from the flight, because he's so prolific, like the amount of albums, whatever. But even you think like True Meanings wasn't toured down under, all these songs that you have to try and cram into a set list, particularly for somewhere, like I say, where you're not going very often, the US, not going as often as the UK. So I don't know how you do. I mean, how do you do that to come up with something together and go, this is what we're going to do, those quiet moments, the loud moments, whatever, Yeah.
I mean, Paul have a pretty rough kind of idea of what he wants to do. Like, there'll be some tunes that kind of have to be in it. It will just be like a WhatsApp chat of like, any ideas welcome. And then we just bombard him with nonsense like going underground, fucking, oh yeah. And it's just all the ball rush, and then he kind of has to go, look, fucking calm down, let's get real. No, but I love doing that though, because it's exciting, because it's an opportunity to maybe get, even if you get one in, like there's been times where, I've suggested something like Brushed or like Rip the Pages Up. I was saying for ages, I was like, I can't, please can play that tune, please can play that tune. And then finally you'll get to do it. And it's like, yes. And that was mega doing that live. And we were opening with Rip the Pages Up. And it's such a tune, man. So yeah, it's exciting doing things like that, getting to, mix up a little bit and put new things in and, or new, old, whatever. But I'm excited to play the songs off this new album because I think a lot of them will really work live. Yeah, so that's exciting for me, is to do these new ones.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I think I asked him about Burnout, which is the final track I'll ask you about, which is the album closer. And it's a brilliant, brilliant song. I mean, John Wilson and I chatted about it. And he's like, it's one of Paul's very best ever songs from his point of view. He's like, he just absolutely loves it. And Charles Reese said the same. I said to Paul, can you hear that as a live song? And he's like, oh, I don't know. I think it would just bring the vibe down. And I get that, but it's such an amazing tune.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would work as a closer, as an end song, sort of leave everybody, because it's nice when we do, because we can do like, Changing Man or Malice or big tunes anyway like that. But sometimes we'll end it with Rockets, which just leaves everything on a calm vibe, and everyone I've watched people kind of walking out the auditorium afterwards, and it's just, everyone's just in this kind of like Zen state, instead of beer getting thrown everywhere and like, fucking yes, just a really nice vibe. So I think Burnout could be one of them if we do it live.
And that was a song that was actually, I think it was the first song recorded for the album. Like it was something around like Fat Pop time. It didn't fit on those sessions or that album, right? Yeah,
it was definitely the first thing for this album that I played on. And that was, if I remember rightly, we just kind of was sitting there. I think maybe it was Paul on piano, Ben on drums, and I was on the Hammond. And he just shouted the chords out as there wasn't a song formed. It was a bit like I played drums on Long Time, and he just had this idea and just shouted it out, and then that became the song. So with Burnout, I think he had these chords, but no real structure or anything. And we just played it once, and that was it. And I think that's what's on the album.
Right, wow.
I'm sure maybe things have been moved around a little bit, but maybe not, maybe that is what it was. We just sat there and played the song start to finish. And obviously everything got built on top of that, but pretty sure that's what happened.
And then Erland went away and wrote the lyrics for it. Was that right? So you didn't have lyrics at that point?
No, I don't think he did, no. I think it was a really rough kind of idea of these chords. Yeah, and then Erland went away. And Erland's great, He's wicked.
Yeah.
Genius.
You get sent the album at some point to listen to as a whole collective. And obviously there's stuff that you're not on as well. And suddenly you're hearing that, those 12 tracks, and being on it must be a bizarre thing to kind of hear. Cause like I say, it's like these versions that are being layered up and they're different to kind of your experience of being in the studio at that time. But suddenly you're on this album, but then you're hearing everything in one go. I kind of, for the first time I experienced that and got the WhatsApp and whatever, it's just like, you feel like an exclusive member of an exclusive club, don't you? It's like, I've got this, I can't tell anybody or share it with anybody, but it's here and,
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm the same. You get it sent through. I mean, I only listen to the songs I'm on, obviously.
Of course.
I'm not bothered about it. No, it's a nice thing because it kind of, you're like, right, okay, well, I know what my Friday night is. I'm going to get, have a little drink, put the album on, loud. And it's a really nice thing to do and rewarding. And yeah, it's just every time, I'm lucky enough to play on these songs. And I still go back to that 16, 15-year-old boy that was kind of in his bedroom playing his guitar to like the Hyde Park DVD or whatever it is. I kind of go back to that and I'm like, you lucky fucker, not a lot of people get this opportunity to play for, their hero basically. So yeah, I never take it for granted and I'm inspired by it. And it always makes me want to go and write songs after I kind of either go to the studio or sit there and listen to it afterwards. It kind of makes me want to up my game writing wise. So I'm like, that's so good. I want to write something, that's as good as that. So it's inspiring.
Well, let's talk about that. So the last time we caught up, I think you'd released a solo single, and you said you were working on some stuff. Where are we at? What's going on? You're too busy with Weller, right?
It will happen. I am working on it at the moment, actually. So it's a good time. It's good that you asked. But I'm working with a guy called Russell, who's from Band of Skulls. He's a singer in Band of Skulls. So I'm kind of going down to his place and working on a few tunes. So I've got I think I've got a nice EP together now. I'm just finishing it off. Well, by this point, actually, when this comes out, it might be out. So who knows? But yeah, I'm working on it at the moment. And but it is hard to kind of get the time. And it feels a little bit, with the kids and that, I feel a little, not selfish, but me kind of going away for 2 days to go and sort of, indulge myself in writing music seems like a bit, like I shouldn't be doing it kind of thing. But,
it is the job though. It's like, carpenter goes to work to make a chair or whatever,
Yeah, I know, but they get paid for it. That's the difference.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. No, but yeah, it is. It's definitely happening. I just want to get it right, and I don't want to just kind of put it out and it get lost, and because there's a lot of that at the moment. I've done things before where you put it out and it just disappears into Spotify and no one really hears it. Yeah, but I think you'll like it though. Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting music, but it's not that far out. It's, I'm quite proud of the songwriting on it.
I'm always fascinated to know what you lot are listening to on the tour bus. So in terms of Japan and Sydney and that journey, what are the tunes that you're digging at the minute, man? Give us some musical recommendations that you were tuning into there.
Let me have a little look-see on my thing. Liam Bailey.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, man. We had a lot of him playing. I was listening to another album by Ironsides called Changing Light. It's kind of an orchestral instrumental album. And another band we like is These Sacred Souls. Craddock sort of turned us onto that. Yeah, lots of different things, really. Richard Hawley sort of came up a bit. All kinds of music. Paul's kind of always playing stuff I've never heard before, and it'll be brand new. And I don't really know how he finds it. He must give himself like dedicated hours in the day to search through new music. But he's always, he's always got a great song to do, like tune to show you. So yeah, that's another thing I love about going on the road and spending so much time, because everybody's got new stuff to show everyone. Yeah. And you come back with all these albums in your collection, basically, and you kind of got hours and hours and hours of listening when you get home, and it's just like, it's fucking great. And then we move on, and there's new stuff. And I was having this conversation with Paul the other day, and I was just like, don't you find it depressing that you'll never be able to hear everything? Which I find is a really weird concept, but like, when we're kind of all dead and gone, we won't have heard everything. And that does my head in, because there's so much great stuff out there.
Undiscovered, yeah. There's so much of it.
You'll never hear. There's not enough time, to hear everything. But yeah, so there's just like, we listen to loads of stuff, man. Loads of different things.
I like that. No, I think it's also like that idea of like just introducing you to new things. So the things you've mentioned there, I'll now go away and listen to. And assuming it's not all that kind of really hard jazz that all of you like in the band, then I'll dig into it, right?
Yeah, Mooney loves jazz. Have you spoken to ask Mooney about jazz?
We have had the conversation about jazz, yeah.
He loves jazz. Yeah, no, all kinds of things, all different things, heavy kind of tunes or like laid back stuff. And it also depends where you are. It's like when we're in Australia and the sun was out, the reggae is on, man. Yeah, it's good. All I wanted to say really was just another thank you to Paul for letting us be involved in another great album, and long may it continue.
Have you seen the visuals of it?
Just looks classy to me. I love the colours on it as well, and you can tell it's Peter Blake straight away. Yeah, it's just wicked, and I think it's a great title as well.
I love that, because your feelings about being in the band are to me, feel like they're exactly the same for Steve Pilgrim. They're exactly the same for Ben, for Jake, and for Steve Craddock, where your fans are Paul and you love it. So you're almost pinching yourself and grateful to be involved in it, and vice versa. Paul obviously rates all of you lot as well. I love that. That's not gone away. There's no complacency at all with any of this.
No, I mean, I was saying to Amber, my missus, the other day, I was just like, this may not, I may not ever get this again. To be in a band with one of your heroes and everyone in the band has become your best mate, and you get to go around the world and you get paid to do it.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know how many times in a lifetime you get that, so I'm soaking it all up and making the most of every time we play, every time we record, every time we just hang out, Yeah, no, the excitement will never go. Yeah, it shouldn't do, man, because we've all grown up listening to those songs, and we all love the songs, and we all want to do right by the songs, whether they're new or old, and Paul's just a geezer, isn't he? So just want to, do a good job.
I have two thank yous to give you. So number one, rip the pages up. If that was your suggestion, man, I saw a video clip of that on social media, and that looks amazing. So if you can keep that as the opener for the UK tour, I'm coming to Shepherd's Bush, wherever it is.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, that just looks amazing as an opener. Well, great, man.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah. I was definitely putting that in the suggestion list for quite some time. But yeah, I hope so too. I love opening with that. It's great. Kicks it off nice.
And just a thank you for coming on and for, being part of this journey, but also for your work on the album as well, because it's another cracking album. So well done, mate.
Pleasure. Thank you very much, Dan. And well done to you, mate. Well done. You're smashing it. Congratulations.
I think Paul said yes after you came on. I think you were the clincher. So if Tom's done it, I'll say yes now,
Yeah, well, I'm not surprised, He copies me on haircuts, fucking shoes. Joking.
Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thanks, Dan.
A reminder, if you've enjoyed this episode of the Paul Weller Fan Podcast, you can find a whole box set packed full of brand new episodes. The Story of 66, available now wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and more, or at paulwellerfanpodcast.com. Whilst you're on my website, why not head into our store, grab yourself a virtual coffee. It's always nice to get a little thanks for this free content. Much appreciated. All available online, paulwellerfanpodcast.com. And here's the big ask. Please do spread the word on social media. So many amazing people giving their time for free to chat to me on these episodes of the podcast. So I'd love it if you could spread the word. Facebook, Instagram, and X. Tell everybody about the Story of 66, this celebration of the brand new album from Paul Weller. Thanks for listening. I'll see you next time.